beyond just losing some weight and getting in better shape? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, I think we need a goal. And I'm like, well, I guess I want to do a Marine Corps PFT. I was in the Marine Corps. And so that I was like, I want to be able to run 3 miles in a certain amount of time. I want to be able to do 20 pull-ups, and I want to do 100 sit-ups in like 2 minutes, which is what a PFT was in the Marine Corps. And he's like, all right, cool. So we started working towards that. And then a few weeks later, he came to me and he's like, hey, have you ever heard of Spartan race? I'm like, no, but I'll check it out. He's like, well, once you check it out, I think we should run one. It'll be fun. And basically, Spartan race is this obstacle course race over 3 to 5 miles. You have multiple different obstacles. And so we started training to do this. And when I went out the day that we went to do it, so this would have been in spring of 2016, we went out there to run this race. I ran this race. I ran it in about 45 minutes. It was 45 to 48 minutes. It was 4.5, 5 miles, 20 plus obstacles through it. When I came across the finish line, which is this big fire you have to jump over to finish, like something just clicked in the back of my head. Like, hey, William, you have what it takes. And that was honestly the beginning of my road. That's where this all started. I wasn't even thinking about becoming a professional coach at that point. I just knew that I was supposed to do what I did and what I went through in that training for that one Spartan race for myself for other men. I started talking to my friends and they started going, hey, can I train and run one with you? I'm like, absolutely. So I started a small group at my church. And it was funny. So this was a process. The first small group, I think I had 3 guys sign up. None of them actually showed up to do the training. But you know, the church I went to, we had small groups in the spring, over the summer, and then the fall. And so I was doing this first one in the summer, and no one showed up. And so the next semester, I just knew I was supposed to put it up again. So I put it up again, and I made my 13-year-old son do it. He got one of his 13-year-old friends to do it. I got the friend's dad to do that, would do it with us, because I'm like, I'm not going to have a 13-year-old kid get broke on my watch, you know, running one of these guys through the woods and climbing over obstacles. But I started seeing the changes in that I saw in myself, the confidence being built in them. I ended up having a couple of the guys that joined us, and we ran a race in December of 2016. I mean, and it was a memorable one because it was like 32 degrees and it was raining. So it was freezing cold. It was wet. And it was miserable, but we did it. And I remember seeing the confidence building in the men that were part of that. I came back that next semester, that spring, and I did another group. I had 20 men in this group, all different ages, all different fitness levels, all just looking for that same thing. Like, hey, do I really have what it takes? That's the question they were asking. And it didn't matter what struggles they had in their life, whether it was, you know, struggling with some pains they had in their marriage, or whether it was an issue with pornography or alcohol or whatever was going on in their life, right? They just didn't believe they have what it took to break that cycle. And in that process, that's where the transformation happened, was coming around other men and seeing the change in their lives. And really, I mean, I don't even know what I was doing. I was just like going, okay, I'm going to do what God's kind of wired me to do. And so there was that race in the spring of 16, and then a race in the fall of 16. And there was a movie I watched, and it was called Rise of the Sufferfest. And in this movie, this guy was trying to talk about why all these obstacle course races and these challenge races have taken up just taken over, right? They were super, super successful. And it came back to this thing that we're not wired to sit in a box and punch numbers on a keyboard all day. The humans aren't, let alone men, right? The humans aren't wired like that. And that night I went to bed. I don't want to sound arrogant when I say this, but like, I went to bed that night and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I had this vision that I've never been able to shake. And it was just me standing in front of a group of what looked like hundreds of thousands of men. And I was saying something, I don't even know what I was saying. And then I was just like, I kind of stepped off of the thing I was speaking on. And it was like we all turned in unison, and we knew we were being called to go to battle and fight for our families. And that year was a moment that, without a doubt, was probably the beginning of it all, 100%. I mean, I don't think it's just men. I think it's just the human race. Like, we're not wired to sit in perfect little air-conditioned boxes. Like, I mean, the reason we're in these little perfect air-conditioned boxes is because we're wired to create comfort, right? Because in the early days, like, there were wild animals and things that out there that would kill you and eat you. And so, like, God didn't uncreate that inside of us. Like, that awareness that there was something out there bigger than you that could eat you is very real.